Hello again and welcome to another bearing installation video featuring Boca bearings. Today I'm going to be installing a set of Boca bearings into my Enya 40X two-stroke engine. Now this engine dates back to about 1978, so it's a rather old engine but a very simple installation. So let's get right to the table. Okay, so here on the table I've got all the tools and supplies necessary for this very simple bearing installation. The first thing I've got here is this beautiful Enya 40X crankcase that's all cleaned up and ready to accept the bearings. I've got the crankshaft, and I've got some tools to do this. I've got a piece of wood that will help as a buffer to tap in that front bearing. I've got a light hammer here. I have a short socket extension which I'll use just as kind of an awl to drive that main bearing into place while it's on the crankshaft. I've got a small precision screwdriver that I'll be using to remove one seal on one of these bearings. And I've got a container of Boca's Lightning Lube Road Power oil, which I will be using just to lubricate the inside portion of the crankcase, the crankshaft, and then the outer races of these bearings. I also have my desk vise here to use as a solid surface for installation. Got my heat gun and my protective glove. So let me zoom in here a bit more. And of course, last but not least, I also have the kit of Boca bearings. Now this particular kit number, which will be displayed on the screen and in the description of the video, is ENK001RSST. So this is a rubber sealed stainless steel kit. These are the bearings I chose for this engine at this time. And additionally, there is a new discount code being offered by Boca. If you place a Boca order and enter the code DAVID15, which is displayed on the screen here, you'll receive a 15% discount on your order. So with that said, let's take these bearings out and begin this installation. So this small bearing here is an R6, 3R6. This is for the front. Now this I am not going to be removing any seals on. It's a double sealed rubber shielded bearing. I'm going to leave those in place in the front. This rear bearing for the crank rear main bearing is an MR6902, and it has one rubber seal on one side and open on the back. I am going to be removing that green rubber seal. Let me kind of move some of these other things out of the way for right now. So as I said, I'll be leaving that one in place. This one I'll be removing. So that's why I'm going to be using this precision screwdriver. It's just a very small screwdriver, and all I'm going to do is just kind of get in here on the outer edge and just gently lift this up. Well, maybe I'm going to do it from the inner edge. Okay, I'm going to do it from the inner edge. It seems like it's better for me to try and get in there on the inner edge, and I'll just get it in there like that and then just slide it around. And then that seal just comes right off. And it's as simple as that. So I'm done with that. Now what I'm going to do is open up this little container here, put one squirt of road power in here, and I'm just going to use my finger to lubricate this crankshaft, the outer edges of the race of these bearings, and of course the inside of the crankshaft or crankcase here, right where the bearing is going to seat. In reality, I could have just shot a little squirt in here, but I like to be able to feel where I'm getting that oil. Wipe my finger off here real quick. So I'll be installing the front bearing first. So let me get my glove on, and we're going to gently heat this crankcase up just a little bit. And what this does is it allows the aluminum to expand a little bit for better installation. gently place this bearing on there. I don't think I need my glove right now. I'm just gonna, and that bearing is installed just as easily as that. I didn't even really need to get this too hot, as you can see. Now for the rear bearing, what I'm going to do here is I like to install this bearing on the crankshaft first. That way, as I install it here and the end of the crankshaft goes through here, it's acting as a centering mechanism. So I'm going to push this on here all the way. And now I'm just going to heat this crankcase up very gently. Right in the area here where the bearing is seating. I mean, the aluminum is going to absorb the heat all over, but I'm focusing the heat in that area, and then maybe I'll shoot some heat right in there. Shouldn't take a whole lot. That should be more than enough. In fact, in many cases, this bearing will just drop right into place and you can just push it in with your finger. That's not happening this time, but sometimes it does. So now is when I'm going to use this drive socket as an awl and just drive this down into place. I think it might be fully seated already. Let's see here. Nope. It's going to take a little bit more than that. And there you have your bearing installed. Another successful installation.